Hello, everyone. Welcome to, the Living Skies Fiber Studio here uh, in Saskatchewan. Living Skies, land of the living skies. So I just want to thank everybody for coming and joining me in my premiere episode. Um, this is just really exciting. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm excited to get the chance to do this today. So I have some things laid out, but we're just going to chat. I have some tea with me, and yeah. So join me here, get comfy, grab your knitting, crocheting, whatever it is that you want to do, and we'll get started. So a little about me. Yeah. So I live in Saskatchewan, in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, more in the northern region, and it is absolutely beautiful here. I absolutely love where I live. I live on the North Saskatchewan River. It is literally right in front of my house. So, um, yeah. So I'm originally actually from Ontario, and I've been out here for 24 years now because I moved out here because my husband is from Saskatchewan. So it was very different when I moved here from Ontario. I always said that I never really liked Saskatchewan because I always spelled it wrong in all my geography tests, and it was this really long name that fit into this little skinny province. So, but now that I'm here, I absolutely love it, and I visit Ontario occasionally still because all of my family is there, but I can't wait to get back to Saskatchewan. The slower pace, the it's hard to explain unless you've been here. And don't judge the northern half of the province off of the southern half of the province. Um, so who am I? I am Carolyn Carleton. I started Living Skies Fiber Studio several years ago, and it has been a journey in itself. So I guess I don't know how far back you want me to go. Um, I started knitting with my grandmother like in my teens, and it was just something that I always did. Watching TV, I used to sit and watch football and hockey with my dad, and I would sit there and knit. And um, I didn't do it for a long time, and then when I got married, I ended up having some health issues, and that's when I started learning how to crochet. So I would sit when I was really struggling with my health, I would just sit and I could crochet. I felt like I wanted to still be useful and keep busy, and so that's what I did. And it's just gone on from there. I started selling things at markets, and it just went crazy. I went to one market. It was a Friday night and an all day Saturday. And Friday night, I like completely sold out. So I stayed up into the middle of the night trying to make some quick things. And I was like crocheting the whole time I was at the booth, and people were buying stuff like before I had even finished it. They were like, I'm coming back in an hour and I want to buy that. So it was a little bit crazy. And that's kind of where it started from there. Because the things that I started to make, I was designing myself because I found whenever I would download a pattern, there'd always be mistakes and it didn't make sense to me the way that they laid it out. So every designer is unique and different in the way they design things. And so that's what I did. I started designing, and I just thought that would be the easier thing to do rather than trying to create stuff all the time. So I just started designing, and my patterns went a little crazy. I've designed for magazines and for yarn companies, yarn boxes, and it was my full-time job for quite a few years, and I absolutely loved it. And then I got hit by a drunk driver one day in the middle of the afternoon. I just was picked up my daughter from school, and we got hit by a drunk driver when we were stopped at a red light, and that changed everything. I had so between concussion and my injuries, I could not crochet anymore. And that was a difficult time because I felt like everything I'd known, everything that I was comfortable with, like, just was taken away from me. And so I ended up having to go back to work, and I wasn't able to do much of anything for a long time. And I've slowly been in and out of it since my car accident because I still deal with a lot of pain from that time. But I am getting better, and it is a journey. And yeah, I'm just really excited about fiber. And since I haven't been able to be as active in designing patterns and creating again, I actually dyed my own yarn for a time. So since I'm not physically able to do those things anymore, I still have been really interested in learning about the industry. And that's kind of where this podcast is coming from. I am been researching. I'm really into the natural wools and discovering the wool market in Canada, because I was finding a lot of the patterns and or designers that I liked were mostly of what's, in the algorithm is a lot of American things, but it's so expensive with the exchange rate. And now we're getting charged on customs for everything. I can't pay those prices. So, so I started researching Canadians, and there's so much in the Canadian market, but we don't always hear about it. And so that's something that I've been learning about. And I'm just like, somebody needs to share this information with everybody because there's so many great makers and creators in the Canadian fiber industry. And so that's what I want to do here. And I am excited that people are coming alongside and want to learn more about the industry. So that's pretty much what this podcast is going to be about. All things Canadian, and introducing you to maybe some Canadian makers you've never heard of before. Yeah, just anything to do with yarn in Canada is what I want to do here. So I don't know exactly what this podcast is going to look like in the future, of whether it's just going to be me chatting and sharing or me bringing on guests or various things. But I'm just going to let it evolve into what it becomes. So I'm excited because I think there's a lot going on. I'm so excited. Like the things I see that are happening in Nova Scotia right now in the industry, and Knit City in Montreal that just happened. What an incredible experience. Oh, I wish I could have been there. And it is just so exciting to see what is happening in the fiber industry in Canada. So let's talk about it. Let's share about it. Let's get people knowing about it. Let's beat the algorithms, and let's just share about all things Canadian. So, and what is going on in the fiber industry. So one of the things I want to talk about is festivals. Since I'm in Saskatchewan, we have one fiber festival. I keep looking at all these fiber festivals across Canada. I am so jealous because I would love to visit them all. If the price of gas wasn't so expensive, I would be traveling across Canada all summer long and visiting every fiber festival that I could. So I'm just going to list like a couple of them. Maybe you know about them, maybe you don't. But that's one thing that I want to share on here is what's happening in the community and in your community and near you. And if you have any information you want to share with me, then please send me an email, comment on this page. I'll keep watching and learning about everything. But one fiber festival that's coming up here right away is the Edmonton Fiber Frolic, and that's on May 28th. So if you are anywhere in the Edmonton area, go and check it out. Hang out there. Like, I love fiber festivals. I go there. Like, I went to one in Saskatchewan a couple of years ago, and I came home and I was telling my husband, I'm like, these are my people. Like, I love it there. And so I would love to get out, and it may work out that I'm able to visit the Edmonton one. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I am able to go and hang out in Edmonton with all my fiber friends and all things fiber. I just want to get out and start squishing yarn again. I'm so excited that these are able to happen again. So we have Edmonton Fiber Frolic on May 28th. The next weekend is followed by Knit City Virtual. So they just had Knit City in Montreal. There's going to be another one in Vancouver in the fall. And right now they're having a virtual one full of makers and workshops and tons of things going on. And all the links for anything that I talk about in any of these podcasts is all going to be located on my website or in the description below. So I want to make sure that everybody is able to connect to anything you hear about on this. So I want to make sure that I include all the links. If I forget something, feel free to comment and I will search it out and find out whatever information you need, because that's what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be educational and informative. I don't know if anyone does the Enneagram thing, but I did the Enneagram test, I think last fall, and I found out I'm a 5, which is a thinker and investigator. So if there's something I want to learn about, I start hunting and researching and figuring it all out. And I just thought it was because I was weird. but what I found out is that, there's other people like me out there. So figuring out my Enneagram was fantastic. So if you know what your Enneagram is, share it with me, because I'm all about it. I've made my whole family do the test. And yeah, everyone I know, take this test because you learn so much. Plus I'm a thinker and investigator, so I got to analyze it to death. Anyways, back to Fibre Festivals. Then we have the bigger Fibre Festival. So that is the only Fibre Festival in Saskatchewan is held in Bigger, which is about an hour outside of Saskatoon on June 11th. And I will be there for that one. You can count on that. So, and I've actually been kind of helping them in the background, organizing and some of their social media things. So I am very excited to head back to Bigger and hang out there with all my fiber friends. Last time I was there, I was selling my yarn, and I don't think I spent 1 cent because my booth was so busy the whole day. I never had an opportunity to leave to go look around. So this time I'm not selling anything. I'm just going to buy. So I've been on a bit of a yarn fast, if that's possible. But I haven't bought any yarn for a little bit. But that's okay. My stash is keeping me busy. But I am definitely going there to buy yarn and accessories. I'm also all things knitting accessories lately, so that's pretty exciting. So if you know of any other fiber festivals, please let me know. And even on my website on carolyncarleton.com, under my Living Skies Fiber Studio tab, there is, I've had a listing of all the Prairie Fiber Festivals there. So if you are looking for anything coming up this summer or in the fall, the Edmonton, Knit City, and Bigger Fiber Fair are just the ones coming up in the next few weeks. So I don't know how often I'm going to do this podcast, whether it's going to be every week, every other week. I have a lot of content at the moment. So whenever it may be falling, then yeah, I will keep up to date. But then there are more fiber festivals listed on my website that I did not mention here today. So as I've been researching about the Canadian wool industry, I found out about a really interesting farm called the Long Way Homestead. So I don't know if you have heard about them or not. So they have a really unique facility. Anna is kind of the fiber fiend behind it all. She originally started out with knitting, and then she I think I was reading her website today. So she started out by knitting when she was a nanny in Switzerland, and then she opened up a yarn store in Vancouver. And then from there, she now has a sheep farm and a fiber mill, which is just outside Winnipeg. So the next time I'm traveling from Saskatchewan to go back to visit my family in Ontario, on my way through Winnipeg, I am definitely stopping in. because she has farm tours. So I think that would just be so exciting to go and see um, what she is doing there. And so through her farm, she and her website, she has this really interesting thing that you may like. So I want to make sure I tell you about it. So I signed up for the Breed of the Month Club. So each month you get a skein of yarn. So can you see that yarn? Isn't that amazing? Look at the texture. So yeah, the natural fibers, I am like so in love with the feel. The fact that um, this was living is just so exciting. And just the natural. Um, I'm really, I've always been fascinated by all the colors in the yarn, but sometimes the overdyed acid coloring gets to be a little bit too much. I am all about the natural things and just the feel of it and the texture. Um, it's just something amazing. So, anyways, you get a breed of the month, and so the breed of the month is let me see if I can. Oh, my sleeves keep getting caught. There we go. So you can. This used to be. This was this. I don't know. I'm just really excited about all of this stuff. So you get a little card that shows all the information on it, and then you learn more about. You can see it about the wool on the back. And so I am just excited about getting these in the mail each month and just learning a little bit more about the sheep that are in our country that we can buy from the farmers. So that is, yeah, I just absolutely love that, and supporting businesses like that and artisans. That's just so much of what I see. The trends that are happening now is going back to more basics, to going back in our heritage. And that is just so exciting for me. Like, if I could go to England and visit, their fiber mills there and see all the sheep farms in England, that would make me a very happy person because I absolutely love it. I watch a show called Escape to the Country just for the sheep and everything you learn about fiber. Um, Like, even look at my phone, my screensaver on my phone. Can you see that? Oh, let me see. Look. Oh, it went away. But anyways, it's the English countryside with sheep. So yeah, that is. See, there's my screensaver. I love sheep, and I love natural fibers. So, anyways, another interesting thing that Anna from Long Way Homestead is doing is she started a Kickstarter um, campaign because she is writing a book called Sheep, Shepherd, and Land. And the subtitle is Stories from the Small Farms Reinvigorating Canadian Wool. So I wanted to let you know about that, and I'm going to have the link for the Kickstarter on there. They opened the Kickstarter campaign with a new Canadian publishing. I think it's called 910 Publishing, and they are a new publishing company here in Canada. And so they are working together. They started this Kickstarter campaign to raise $25,000 to make this book a reality, and they met their goal within the first 3 days. Like, it was absolutely incredible. If you want to know how excited people are about the Canadian wool industry, that is a sign of the times right there. And I looked on their website, the Kickstarter this morning, and I think they're up to $41,000 with the original goal of 25,000. They're now almost doubled that, and the campaign goes until Friday. So check out the link, go visit them, and basically what you do is you just pre-order the book and you're supporting what they're doing. So that is just, yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, that just makes my heart so happy to see how excited people are about natural fibers and wool in Canada. So I'm going to have in each of these podcasts, I want to include a variety of things. So part of it is I want to talk about things that are going on in the Canadian wool industry, um, with the festivals and different products. So I hope to highlight more products and unique Canadian things throughout the podcast. But then another thing I want to do is talk about is books that I'm reading. I don't know what you like to do when you knit or crochet or weave or macrame, whatever, as you're creating with those fibers. Embroidery. My daughter's huge into embroidery. People are just giving her things to embroider these days. Um, and so whatever it is that you're doing, like I like to listen to audiobooks. That is my thing. And so I use an app called Libby. So it connects with your local library, and then you can borrow the books for free. And then if, I don't know, they only allow so many people listening to it at one time, and then um, so you can put books on hold and they get delivered to your phone and then you just listen to them. And so I have been listening to a lot of books lately, with a variety of things that I've been doing. So I just thought I would share about some of the things I'm reading today, because I always find I share them through like my Instagram, but it's always, I don't know, interesting to share about here. But so since I've been listening to it on my phone, um, I don't have a physical copy to hold for you. So I printed off the covers just so you could see. Everyone likes a visual. So um, this is the one that I just finished, called Vanishing Fleece by Clara Parks. This one was so good. I really, really enjoyed this. And I have to say, I'm not going to give away the ending, but I cried at the end. So um, it is, well, Adventures in American Wool is what it's about. So it's all about Clara, you're learning about the yarn industry, from raw wool to processing to dyeing, to selling it and that type of thing. And so it's all about her. She actually had a membership program you could be a part of and learn about it. And she just walks you through the whole thing of her whole learning process, the people she met, the mills she went to. Um, it's just a really interesting story. If you want to learn more about wool, and when you go to fiber markets and you're like, why is this, skein of yarn $30? Well, when you realize all the processes that it goes through to get to that, and how many hands have touched it and worked with it, and the TLC that they have to give that wool before you get to create something beautiful with it, it's a lot. So $30 is actually a bargain. But anyways, um, so that was a really good book. So that'll be, I'll link to that too, so that you can go check it out on Amazon, and I'll put a link to the Libby app as well, so that if you don't know about that one, I think it's a part of the Overdrive, different things of what you use for um, listening to books or Audible, whatever it is that you do. So this is a really good one. Then another one that, you know what, I couldn't even make it through this whole book. So this is a warning on this one. So this one is called The Power of Knitting. So I read about it, and it says stitching together our lives in a fractured world. So I thought, this would be interesting, as I'm learning all these things to do with fiber arts and wellness, and I'm doing this big study right now. So I borrowed this on the Libby app, and I couldn't make it through it. She has some interesting things. Oh, who's the author? Loretta Napoleoni. So she has some interesting things. I've done some research on some of the things she's talked about in the website, or in the book, which apparently isn't very correct. She tries to teach like the history behind the yarn industry, and through traveling through Europe and all this type of thing, but she didn't really write this book when she was in a good frame of mind. She should have been at a different place in her life, I think, because throughout the book she keeps complaining about her ex-husband. So she has a lot of anger and hostility towards her ex-husband. And for some reason, she twists and manipulates things from the yarn industry to complain about her husband. So I couldn't listen to it anymore. He left her, I guess, broke, uh, because she had to sell one of her multiple homes, and I don't know. It was just one of those things where I'm just like, I just can't do it anymore. So yeah, I didn't even listen to the whole thing. So that is not one that I would recommend. And even when I read about it on Goodreads, there wasn't a lot of good reviews on Goodreads either. Um, so yeah, that's a warning for you on this one. The power of knitting. Not really worth your time. So those are I have more books coming too. So I've been reading some good ones. They all haven't been like that one. So another portion of this podcast that I want to include is about wellness. I left. Well, I had to leave my job last October due to, I guess, stress related issues. And it was a medical termination because my doctor um, basically told me I had to. So I have done a lot of research into, because I'm Enneagram 5, but I've been reading a lot about wellness, mental wellness, and how we can do better for ourselves. Because I neglected myself for a long time and my body paid the price. And not even my body paid a price, my mental capacities, but then it even goes into your family too. So it goes into your marriage and your parenting. And then I have two daughters. I have an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. And so it even goes into their lives. So when I left my job in October, I basically did nothing. And it was basically what the doctor told me to do. Don't do anything. I had 3 months of EI that I was eligible for. And he's like, don't do anything. I just need you to rest for 3 months. And so that was a difficult thing because somebody who is an overachiever, I don't know, because I was to the point of like utter exhaustion, and I just had to rest, and it was so difficult for me. But I didn't realize how much I needed it and how hard we push ourselves as women, as mothers, and it was just not a healthy place for me to be. And so that's something that I want to talk about a little bit in each of these podcasts, is because as creators, we're already moving forward in a really positive environment because we are creating. Creating is so healthy for our minds and for our wellness, and we have no idea. I actually taught a really cool workshop a couple of years ago that I created. It was called Weaving into Wellness, where I would go into classrooms in various schools throughout Saskatchewan, and I taught them how to weave a bracelet. And it was so interesting because I got to go in and teach them about how, like, that repetitive linear movement is so healthy. It actually induces, like, it's like meditation. It creates a calmness within you, such as you would have during, like meditation or yoga and those type of things. So what we're doing as we're creating those repetitive linear movements is so good for us. And I just want to encourage you to try, like, even if it's like a couple rows a day, just keep active, just keep creating. And something that I really want to challenge you with in your making and as you're creating is to turn off the distractions. Like I said earlier, I like listening to audiobooks when I'm knitting and that type of thing, but sometimes I just don't. Like actually a lot of the times I listen to audiobooks are when I'm like folding laundry or doing dishes and those type of things because I'm already busy and active. But a lot of times when I'm knitting, I like to just sit and think and listen to the needles. And a lot of times, like if I feel like if I'm sitting in the room and the TV, that big black box is staring at me and I need something on, I'll turn it to like a YouTube or station that has a fireplace. And, or if you have a real fireplace, then that's awesome. Turn on the fireplace, and because that is another element of creating cozy in your life. And so, yeah, I just want to challenge you that instead of when you're knitting or creating, crocheting, whatever you're doing with fiber, to just spend some time being quiet. And it's incredible how mindful you become. You know, if you want to think on something, think about things that you're grateful for. Maybe have a little journal set beside your table or beside you as you're thinking, and just think about what you're grateful for. You know, think about your family. Think about um, maybe that thought in your mind or the problem or situation that you have going on that you just kind of keep ignoring a little bit and putting on the back burner, and but like someday I'll deal with that. There's a lot of therapy can happen as you're working through those repetitive linear movements. So I want to just, yeah, encourage you to turn off a lot of the distractions and binge watching Netflix or whatever it might be, and just sit with your knitting. You know, take your knitting outside and knit in nature. It's incredibly healing and therapeutic because I've had to do a lot of healing in my life, and a lot of that has been through working through row after row of yarn. So that's our little wellness moment for today. So we're just going to close today's podcast. And I guess one of the things that, well, I guess I'm just going to end with is I'm just going to share a little bit about what I'm doing right now through my Living Skies Fiber Studio. I am starting to design again. I am not going to be cranking out the patterns like I was before or trying to keep up to anyone else who's cranking out the patterns. I'm just going to take it at my pace, just doing what I can do. So I've always been out because I used to be Living Skies Crochet, and then I changed it to Fiber Studio when I started doing the yarn. And now I'm going back to knitting because crocheting was hurting. I have so much damage to my left shoulder, but so crocheting just hurt, and I just couldn't do it. And I found that when I'm knitting, it doesn't hurt me. So I have been doing more knitting now, and I'm designing some really cool patterns that are the repetitive linear moments. So they're almost like meditative type projects. So I'm really kind of excited about it. So I'll show you. This isn't much of a sneak peek because there isn't much here, but oh dear. So yes, because I actually started it and then I took it out. And then I started it again. So because I had a better idea. So, but that's kind of what you do with designing is you start and then take it out. So this is a sneak peek of the thing that I'm knitting. So I'm only on the second row, but it's something that I'm really excited about because look at what it's the best side to show from. Look. Can you see all those colors? I'm knitting. Oh, it's trying to figure out where to focus. So this is minis. So this is a bunch of mini skeins that I've had. So this is from, I don't know. It's not going to focus. Maybe not. Oh, come on. It's so pretty. Anyways, it's not figuring it out. So yeah, this is was mini skeins that I had from my line of yarn. So from the Living Skies Fiber Studio. So this is 12 minis. And I think there was only like 50 yards per skein of the minis. So I just thought I had tons of minis left and I wasn't sure what to do with them all. And I'm like, I'm going to create a pattern that uses up minis. So if you have a bunch of minis, you can use this, or it's going to take about 600 yards. So just a heads up, if you're looking for a project or you're going to a fiber festival, pick up like 3 skeins of some DK and I'll have an exciting pattern for you coming soon. And I shared a little bit earlier about Knit City Virtual, and I'm excited to tell you that I am a workshop leader there. So I am going to be teaching a workshop there, and it's called the Maker's Wellness Workshop. So I've told you that wellness is really important to me, and so I'm teaching a workshop there June 4th at 10 a.m., which is like Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Saskatchewan, but we're the same as Alberta right now. So yeah, I'm teaching that. Registration actually opens tomorrow. You can read about if you go on to Knit City Virtual, which I'll have the link there too. And so if you go on to the Knit City thing, all of the workshops on there. There are tons of workshops that you can take virtually. So if you're someone like me who lives in a more remote area and doesn't have a lot of connections to people or to these fiber festivals, this is a really great option for you to connect with your fiber community. So the description for the Maker's Wellness Workshop is in this workshop, you will learn how fiber arts are beneficial to your mental health. Through meditation, journaling, instruction to hygge, and stretches for the maker's hands, attendees will leave feeling refreshed and mindful. And it includes a digital journal as well that I am including with the workshop. So just head on over to the virtual and sign up starting tomorrow and check out all of the workshops because there are tons for you to choose from. So that is all for today. Oh, we're almost up to 40 minutes. Thank you for joining me. I really hope that you stay connected. So, all the things, subscribe to this, to my channel. If you click on the little bell, it notifies you whenever a new video comes on. I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep doing them at this time or what. It just worked out really well today because we have the long weekend coming up. So I wanted to get it out there before the long weekend. Registration's open for Knit City tomorrow. And the Kickstarter campaign, don't forget about that, to go and check out and pre-order a copy of your book. And they have a whole bunch of options of how you can choose to support them. So go and scroll through and see what you're interested in. If you have any questions for me or you have information that you want me to share about because you're doing something really cool in Canada with fiber, then please go to my website, email me, and I would love to find out more about that because I am on a journey to find out about all things to do with fiber in Canada. So we have the long weekend coming up. So the May long weekend here. So I just want to say happy long weekend, everyone. I hope you get lots of time to spend with your family and you can fit in some time with creating. And maybe you're going to be planting your gardens. I don't know. It's still, I don't think it's ready in Saskatchewan yet. I saw some people planting and I'm like, I think he might be pushing it. So it seems like the snow just left and there's not really any. There's a little bit of buds on the trees, but not a lot yet. So we're still a little ways away here. But I just hope that you have a fabulous long weekend. And I will chat with you soon in episode 2. Thanks.